Welcome. My name is Barney Reese. I'm reading you How Blessed You Are in God's Promises. I am the author. We're on chapter 4, chapter 41, part 4. I hope you're enjoying this series. I would see a dance floor with nothing but women on the floor dancing to techno, both men and women dancing in cages. I would have little bitty scary guys bump into me, and I would hit them with my shoulder, and they would spin like a top in the crowd, and then my friend would hit them with his shoulder, and they would spin him again. Remember when I was not working, I was in the gym. I would go to the dance podium, and if a guy ever tried to dance with me, I would kick behind or dance a certain way to let him know I was not gay. And if he valued his life, he would just go on. I still remember when I was depressed and I was in the bar called California. They would always play the song, Welcome to the Hotel California, they closed. I don't remember the time, but two Marines wanted to fight me. They were each at least 200 pounds or more, and they started yelling at me. I still don't know what caused it. I just told them, I'm not afraid of dying. How about you? They each went and bought me a beer and told me to get some help. I know I'm a broken record, but before that night, I asked God to take the pain away or never let me wake up. I was suicidal, and I was unable to think about nothing but my problems. I probably was a danger to everyone around me. I wish I would have known what I know now, but all I could think about was going home. I later realized that I did not have the right to take a life. I really did not know I felt the way until after my depression was lifted from me. I would talk to my mom. I would go for hours. She lost her phone twice talking to me. I settled in. I was taking Kuksu 1, was working in phase, and had even taken an Italian class and few other classes as well. I could change a tire, help take an engine out. I had even gotten warmer clothes after nearly freezing my butt off all winter. I had decided to get out of the Air Force. This was not the life for me. I would go back to school. I applied for early out and was denied by a total of shortage of 2 people in my career field. We were working 12-hour days now in phase when we were to get out our top secret clearance. After we was talking about war and Bosnia conflict and F-16 is a fighter jet, I told them I would leave honorably, or I would do my time. I was told by the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force to say I was gay, and they would release me tomorrow. I refused and told them it was against my beliefs. I would be investigated by the Air Force to see if I was a spy. And to be honest, if I had only told the truth, I would be put into a tool room, post office, cleanup crew, paint detail, help stock sandwiches, look down for the way I felt, and even clean my dorm area before I left. This would go on for a few months. All I wanted was to be taken out of this career field and put into something to whose bombs was not dropped on innocent people who were fighting for food. I was declined that, so I would be released from the Air Force, and I would be going home in March of 1996. Since I took off no vacation time, I was allowed to go home up to February of 1996, and just before I did, I went to the movies for the last time. It snowed in Avonlea in January. I sold my Sega system, my car, and packed up everything in a box and sealed it while I was packing. I put my gold chain away, and my new roommate had taken it a while. While I went to the bathroom. I came back, and the next thing I knew, it was gone. I had one window in my dorm room, and I told him, my mother gave me that gold chain, and if you do not come up with it, I will kick you through that window. When I came back, keep in mind, I did train martial arts and lift weights besides working on the F-16s. And he weighed about 210, not a small guy at all. I think I may have weighed about 175 pounds, just tone, no fat. My gold chain magically showed up. I left a few days later. I was heading home. I bought a suitcase and I went to Venice, Italy, drove in a mountain creek, and even snowed after the movie at the theater on base. I had to laugh. I went to the plane finally, got seated, got on plane, and left the Air Force Base Avonlea. I was going to Philadelphia Airport, then Atlanta Airport, and finally Meridian Airport. The second time I had flown, I was home. I was so happy to see my mom and brother. I even redid my mom's pipes completely. I went to see my sister. She helped me buy a Ford Taurus for $500. At least I would have transportation. I later found out Liliana and Stephanie had gone, and I was there to find a job, but I was home. I ended up working at Hooper Sounds, and of course, being the new guy, I was being harassed for being a salesman and pretty much thought I was going to have to fight the whole place, including the manager. I had only been at work about 3 months when the Taurus had started giving me problems. I later bought a 1995 Ford F-150 Standard because I did not have enough money to pay for it. I went 2 months before I could buy a tag. I worked for Hooper Sounds for a year, and later went to work for Chesterfields as a waiter. And I had sold my TV and VCR European version and was buying the old Maxi pawn shop. And I was going to make it a pawn shop. For the owner was was doing me a favor. Little did I know they were taking and selling everything they could take, as well as sold me 2 condemned buildings. I ended up having to go bankrupt, and since I was unable to get a bond at the time, I was unable to get a pawn license. I ended up having a gun shop, but only sold a few pistols. I kept my gun license, but only sold a few guns and decided to stop as the law kept changing. And after I had to go to work in the Meridian Navy Air Station as A4 aircraft servicer and later aircraft as a plane captain for the A4s, which my job consisted of me launching, oiling, towing, washing, fueling, and securing the aircraft when needed. However, I guess all things come to an end. The A4s were discontinued, and since I was new with no singularity, I was laid off after getting my own place. Buying a 1998 Dodge Ram, I was laid off in October of 1998. I ended up going to work for Rex, but my future wife being pregnant, I only stayed a few months. And some employees, well, let's just say I wanted to take a baseball bat to them or at least break a few bones. I ended up having to move out of my apartment with my mom, brother, his girlfriend, and my fiance, and my sister. I ended up moving out with my future wife, and I later came home from Rex TV. 25 cents off of a 27-inch television. I quit. Never went back. The manager told me to stay, but he said the guys were scared to have dinner with me, afraid I might hurt them. I told him it would be best if I left, or he was right. I might actually hurt some of them fine gents. I took my taxes and went to North Carolina. Though I could not work with my brother and his girlfriend after buying a trailer, using my truck, going to North Carolina after finding to work and working a job. Don't leave that on the ground there, Jeff. That dog will get it. I took my taxi and went to North Carolina. I thought I would work with my brother and his girlfriend after buying a trailer, using my truck, coming to North Carolina and hiding out, no work, and working a job and saying I was not qualified and left. I was living with my future wife, father, and 2 daughters in a 2-bedroom trailer. I had no job, no money, a baby on the way. I trucked with a $515 note, only drew 1 employment check. I was depressed and had her dad try to cheer me up as best he could. He took me fishing, and my Filipino wife did what she could. I finally found a job working as a Carpet Mart Plus, and I went to work selling carpet and flooring for Mr. Perry. I even managed to get an apartment before my son was born. Kyle was born on April 5th, 2000. Natural birth, and because of this, he had a cone head. I was a proud dad. I named him Kyle Skylar Reese, and I would now be a parent. I later got a better job, went to work for TV 2430 as the manager of For Sale by Owner Plus. I had 3 employees and got rid of 1, almost put the real estate agency out of business. I later went to work for Sikorsky Aerospace twice. After working through the coldest winters, months late working, I was laid off again. I later went to work for Rex TV, which my baby Kyle was on the way. Later, my brother's supposed to be partners. Furnished truck, spent all my retirement, bought trailer, went to Carolina to find work, and finished my truck. 1981 Ram truck was told I did not have enough experience and we could not split money with you. And after leaving my wife, staying in a 2-bedroom trailer with her dad and her 2 daughters while my pregnant wife was not working and Kyle being due at any time, I later went to work for Carpet Mart Plus for Mr. Perry and was able to rent an apartment before Kyle was born. I later went to work for 2430 for By Sale by Owner as the manager and was only making $22,500 a year. I still had my truck note and all the bills, which truck notes was $515 a month. No health insurance, and got married in October 1999, just before Kyle was born. I thought I would make money. Ended up going to work in 2001 for Carpet Mart Plus and later the Ford Place. I later went to work for Boeing after being in Ford Place for 6 months. I ended up renting my trailer since I brought for my mom, but had to put my sister down, name on it, to get the loan. I later was talked into buying a piece of property my father-in-law was renting by Mac Hodges. I was cold inside, but I worked. I thought that I had a son and I had a wife. I had even sold my truck and was paying my wife's Toyota Corolla now. I had even bought a Toyota Tacoma, which I later traded for a Windstar van. I had moved 10 miles out to Tumasuba. I had moved my trailer, took my savings to do so, made a home for my family, and thought we were born to be happy. I ended up trading my truck in for Emily to have a Windstar van. She agreed to help pay for it. I never knew what was fixing to happen to me. After Emily, my wife, got a job, she met a kid working there. After I had bought the property by father-in-law, my son, only 4 years old, she wanted a divorce. She had been messing around on me. She was packing up and fixing to go to Florida and take my son. I did what any father would do, took my boy and went to a lawyer to make sure she could not leave the States with him.